We thank thee for this change of weather that we're sensing as the seasons come. We feel blessed to know the many beauties that are in store for us through the fall and into the winter. We thank thee for this city where we live and work, for the blessings that come with being here. We thank thee for the wonderful group of people that turned out yesterday for this marvelous, marvelous new park. Rachel's Garden is a gift to so many due to the hard work of so many. We thank you for our fire, our police, our EMTs, for those who take care of us in any situation where they are needed. Help us to do tonight what would be in the best interest of the city. Help us be the people you would have us be. In Jesus' precious name we pray. Amen.
Thank you, Judy. Adam, are there any changes to the agenda tonight?
No changes.
There's no changes to the agenda. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda as printed? We have a motion to approve. Do I have a second? Second by Mr. Parnell. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Passes. Has everybody had a chance to read the minutes from the August meeting? If so, is there any changes to the minutes? Hearing none, do I have a motion for approval of the minutes as written? So moved. Who was that? Motion by Mr. Gilmore. Do I have a second, please? Second by Mr. Parnell. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Passes. Thank you. We are now ready for our public forum. This is a time where you're invited to come to the podium up front and have any comments you want to address to the Planning and Zoning Board. We do ask you to keep it to 3 minutes or less. Is there anybody wishing to address the board at this time? Seeing no one that wishes to. Oh, do you need to come to the front, please?
Glenn Garrett, I live at 107 Roanoke Drive, which is, as you all know, is associated with this property. This is, how many times have we been here before? I didn't find out about this till 25 minutes ago, so maybe that's my own fault that I missed the email, but I'm just kind of, before I can comment, I'm curious why we're here again. I guess it's my first question. Because I know before we had gone through, approved something, they've gone through and they kind of did a clear cut on the land, and then it's sat for probably long enough that it's started to grow back up. So I'm just curious what this agenda item is before we can even.
Answer that, Adam?
Yeah, they're making requests on the architectural design, a change to it.
Okay, what type of change?
They're about the number of 1- and 2-story units. The number of 1- and 2-story units.
Okay, and how's that going to affect what this board?
I'm sorry. Yeah, 1- and 2-story units. Remember, City Commission requires 60% max 2-story and 40% 1-story. So it's 117 units, about 70 2-story, and they're wanting to change that. We've got to do all 1- or 2-story option, either one. That's what the request is for.
Okay, but I thought we had already gone through that and approved it based on.
And that's what the request is.
Yeah.
They're requesting a revision to that.
Okay.
So that's what we're up for tonight.
So as far as I know, there's a lot of other people myself, because we have a neighborhood text string going along, and I think this caught a lot of people off guard that were not aware this is going on. So that's why, I happened to be close enough that I could get here. So, I'm just letting you know that there may be some you all may be getting some phone calls about this, depending on what the board decides to do. Just based on the fact that there's a lot of us that are directly affected that found out about this very last minute.
Okay, I appreciate that.
Glenn.
You'll have your opportunity here in a few minutes to address.
Sorry, Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
Glenn, now that you've heard, I guess, what the request is, do you have an opinion, immediate opinion, or do you want to think about it a minute?
I know a big part of it was the 50-foot. mean, I've got several opinions on what has been done so far, yeah, but I don't think that's what you all are interested in hearing right now. But a big part of it is the 50-foot easement coming across the road, and then, a big thing is, so we're not looking into the back of a bunch of two-story, of taller units. I think that was a part of what the board approved before, was to the best fit for the neighborhood was to limit the number of two-story buildings and the type of construction, and I thought we had gotten through that. I mean, I'll tell you, the way the neighborhood sees this is they can't make the numbers work with what's already been approved. We've got to come back and try to get something else now with the units so we can get a higher price point, now that we've been here and moved a little dirt around and seen what the contour of the land is. I mean, I'll just be perfectly honest with you, I think the general, that's me speaking for the neighborhood, but I think if there was others here, they would be nodding in agreement. So.
Okay. Thank you. Does anybody else wish to address the board tonight? Seeing no one else, I have a motion to close the public forum. So moved by Ms. Wheeler. Do I have a second? Second by Ms. McNeil. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Forum is closed. We are now ready for item number 4. Request recommendation of the City Commission to amend the 1- and 2-story townhouse unit ratio master plan requirement. Project includes 117 townhouse units and commercial outpost frontage on 20.32 acres on South Dickerson Road. Anybody here, I know there is, for this, yes, come to the board podium and state your name.
Good evening. How are you guys doing this evening? My name is George Grunler, and I'm here to speak on behalf of this project as one of the owners.
Okay, we're going to let Adam take it from here, then
Yes, sir.
you'll be invited to come back.
Thank you.
All right, this is a recommendation to the city commission, because the city commission, in the review of the ordinance rezoning the property, originally it was 133 townhouse units, it got reduced down to 117. But the city commission did a requirement for 60% maximum 2-story, which is 70 units, and 47 1-story units. So like I said earlier, the request is they want the option to be able to do all 1-story, all 2, or not limited by that percentage breakdown. Like I said, this is a recommendation to the city commission. This is something they'll have to review also, because it was a requirement they defined with the rezoning process. I kind of just did a snapshot above here showing what the project is. They're not changing any design there are no proposed design change to the unit design. This was originally what was approved, the front of the units, the mixture of the 1 and 2 stories. I was sent this earlier. This is the revised design. I'll let him go through these architectural design. He wanted to explain those, so I'll let him do that. But here's the revised architectural design, kind of similar. But options would be, we can recommend the city commission to approve his request to allow the option. 2, we could recommend not to approve it and kind of maintain what we got. Or 3, could defer it if there's any additional items. Due to the long negotiations this went through, I recommend we kind of stay with what we got. Here's the deal, though. We don't have any basis for 1 or 2 story units. We allow 2, 3 story units. So this was something that the city commission determined with the design. So when we recommend that to them or give them a recommendation, it isn't really based on what our regulations are, because there's no regulations to prevent requires a 1 or 2 story unit. So, but I just feel like consistency with the original plan. But that's really what we're discussing, that recommendation to the city commission. So when you want to flip on the slides, you just tell me to change them. So
That's fine there, sir. Thank you.
that's all I had.
That's
before.
all, George?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. True. Thank you all for the opportunity to make this request this evening. This request is born out of building a better and more usable home for the future residents of this planned neighborhood. This request does not impact the density of the homes in the neighborhood. It does not create any additional height to the homes that was previously approved, and it does not create any additional or negative impact on the parking for this neighborhood. It merely provides additional square footage for the future residents of the community to have a third bedroom opportunity or a potential home office or bonus room for multiple use purposes. This does not impact whatsoever the layout that was previously approved for the civil engineering, the location of the streets, the size of the lots themselves, or anything in regards to the footprint of the neighborhood, the footprint of the homes approved, nor the additional approved 50-foot buffer to the northern side of the property. It just provides a opportunity to have the primary bedroom on the main level of the home, and for planning purposes of potential aging population, to have that primary bedroom on the main level while creating a home that's also accessible for future use opportunities for the residents of the home. I respectfully request the removal of the prior percentage of the one-level home requirement, and be happy to answer any questions about the request as it relates to the homes, the neighborhood, et cetera. Thank you for the opportunity to speak this evening.
Any questions from the board? I have one question. So
Yes, sir.
back however many years ago it was, 2021, it was still for 117 units, is that correct?
Yes, sir. I think the original, and your memory may be better than mine on this, since I have two teenage daughters. The original neighborhood was approved for, I think, 132
That's
or
correct.
133 homes. The density that was previously approved was 117, and that's the Phase 1 and Phase 2 layouts that have been approved, and we have no desire or this change would not impact that. The only change that you really see to the architecture from the outside, it does not impact the overall height of the buildings. The overall height of the buildings will not change whatsoever. It strictly changes that front dormer. As you can see on the homes that have the one-car garage, you have the dormer that provides additional light and usable space to the second floor. And so the footprint, as far as the width, the depth, the height of the overall built product is exactly the same. We're just better utilizing the space within the roof trusses, within the attic truss opportunity to increase the square footage by about 450 square feet to better create a more usable home for the future residents.
Okay. Any other questions?
Mr. Chairman, my only question, maybe I asked Adam this. So this was approved as late as 21.
Yeah, it was, it
By
went
the
to,
commission.
this all came during COVID, so it was a lot of meetings. The city commission reviewed it for several months, but yeah.
Okay. So here we are 4 years later. What's the reason for the change now?
So we're preparing within the next 3 to 6 months to begin construction. And from a market study standpoint, as it relates to the type of home and the size of homes and the use of the rooms and so forth for the future residents, we feel like this is a better product, a better home for the future residents. So it's still, I know one of the concerns that I heard previously was that, hey, we want to have a home that features a bedroom on the main level, right? So this home still does that, exactly the same. It just provides a third bedroom opportunity, and also, even if you looked at from the standpoint with what could be perceived as a more aging in place buyer profile, you still have the opportunity with that primary bedroom on the main level. But you know, that demographic, that buyer profile also wants to have perhaps a home office or a library, perhaps a media room, you know, places for their grandkids or children to come stay and visit them periodically and things of that nature. And with the one level, that it becomes a highly restrictive product from both the square footage and also from a price point standpoint, not in regards to profitability on the job or anything of that nature. It provides for certainly a higher price point with higher square footage. And so instead of, you know, a one-level home selling in the $250,000 range, let's say, a two-level home would garner a premium and be into the 300,000. So not only is it an increase of the usability of the home for the future residents, but also from the permit fee standpoint and also from a tax basis standpoint, they're all positive improvements from that standpoint.
Any other questions? Yeah, Mr. McNeil.
Relative to the units there, what is the fire separation between the units?
Again, sir, I'm sorry, the fire
What is the
separation?
fire separation between the units?
The fire separation is dictated and determined by the building code, and that would not change. I believe the building code.
Typically, a common 2-hour is the
That's
code
correct.
requirement.
It becomes a two-hour wall, and whether there is livable space on the second floor of the home or not, that would not change.
Okay.
Adam, do you have the pictures of the original approved building versus them?
Yeah, that's the original approved, and that's like I said, it didn't really affect the height, it was just the windows and stuff. But let me see. Like, you can see like these units, especially on the end, the 1-story, they incorporated more windows. Like I said, to have a usable space in the upper level.
What was that space originally? Just attic space?
Yes, sir. Yep, it was just, with the 40% one-level provision, it was just merely attic trusses, and you can see there from the peak of the ridge and so forth that there's no increase in height to the buildings whatsoever. You simply have, in what my opinion is better architecture for the one-car garage homes, because they feature the dormer above the double windows there. And, so I look at this as only an improvement from the standpoint of, not only the livability of the home, the flexibility of the home to be, both meeting the needs of a family and also meeting the needs of a couple who might be a little bit older or empty nesters from that standpoint. And we do it all within the same buildable footprint. The exterior of the neighborhood does not change whatsoever. The heights of the buildings do not change, but we're able to accomplish that within the trusses of the built form and just adding that front dormer.
What's on the back side of this building?
Sir?
What's on the back side?
You'll have mostly roof, but you may have, depending upon if they opt for the bonus room option that we have incorporated, you might have 2 windows on the back, but again, everything will be 100% below the ridge line, below the peak of the ridge.
And right now, with what was approved, there are no windows on the back.
There are no windows. It's just a long sloping roof. Yes, sir. So even on the rear, from an architectural standpoint, I would certainly view increased architectural aesthetic on the back of the home as well.
And one other question.
Yes, sir.
These units, where Mr. Garrett is on the north side of this property,
Mhm.
what is his view? Is his view from the back of these buildings, the side of the buildings, or?
Just the side, sir. Yeah, just the side. If you could go back to the overall layout with the 50-foot buffer to the north, you can see how the homes are aligned on the cross streets. And so, at most, depending upon which property that Mr. Garrett would be, you might see, and it is quite densely wooded on that 50-foot buffer, where you would only see, just the ends. And on the ends, you'll have additional windows on the sides of the homes. And again, that roof line does not change whatsoever.
One thing that I remember from, 4 or 5 years ago, however long it was a lot of discussion, a lot of the neighbors being involved, like Mr. Garrett said.
Mhm.
A lot of giving and taking and all that, to get to where we were.
Mhm.
It was very touch and go. It was very close what we were going to do. Is that correct, Adam? It wasn't just, It wasn't an easy decision for the board or for the city commission to make, I don't believe. And
I think
so
originally that was born out.
I kind of hate to take that away from the neighbors who put so much effort 4 or 5 years ago into this process.
Mhm.
Now, to me, when I look at what you're proposing, that didn't seem to be a major hurdle.
Mhm.
But I don't live 50 feet away from these buildings either.
Yeah, and nobody's going to live 50 feet away from that.
Well,
I mean,
you know what I'm saying.
there's going to be several hundred feet of separation.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying, they're in close proximity.
Yes, sir, Mr. True, I totally understand that. And the line of proximity from existing homes in the surrounding areas and the surrounding homes, this does not make the proposed change does not make these homes any closer, right, whatsoever. It does not make the homes any higher whatsoever. And so the intent, as it was approved, and the approval process, yes, it was lengthy for certain. I participated in all those workshops with you and the Planning Commission and Council as well. And so, to use your word, I think negotiation, we are far below the density by nearly 15% of what the neighborhood was approved for, of the 132 homes. And so we're not attempting to increase the density whatsoever. We're simply working to deliver a better quality home and a better usable home for the future residents and the future neighbors of the community.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir.
So you don't have any side views or any back views of any of these units today, right?
No, sir,
Of
not
the,
today.
I notice on the front of them, it looks like mostly at least a 12-12 pitch or maybe even higher.
It would not exceed 12-12 to my recollection, but if that's
Okay,
something-
so, which is fine to me, the
Yes, sir.
steeper roofs look better, but what is the back? Are they a 12 as well, or do they go down, do they slope off to a 3 or 4?
Oh, no, there wouldn't be a 3 or 4, Mr. Lieutenant. No, it would probably be closer to an 8-12 off the back, and so that doesn't,
And what was the existing?
they were the same.
So it's still an 8-12?
Yes, sir. I mean, we could, if that was a concern as far as increasing that or reducing that based upon your feedback, I'm happy to accommodate that request if there would be a slope in your mind not to exceed or a slope
Well,
minimally to achieve, then certainly open to that.
I mean, I want to give clarity to the citizens. This is kind of what we work for, is to make all the right decisions for
Yes, sir.
them. And, I mean, if the roof lines, the heights don't change, they still look the same and aesthetically look better, then it's a consideration, but I'm not so sure that we shouldn't defer it for a month to give the citizens and get a better blueprint of what you're working towards versus what we have, rather than, I don't think I can make a decision myself tonight. That's just my opinion.
So you'd like to provide the rear elevation architecture as well?
Before I could go any further, I'd definitely have to see aesthetically how close it was to the existing plans versus what
sir.
you're doing. And I'm with Mr. Garrett. We want the best for what looks best for the city. That's what we're after.
Understood,
So-
yes, sir.
Mr. Chairman, can I kind of follow up on what Mayor Tennant said? I do feel, for as long as this has been discussed, and tonight this is brought in, and I'm not saying you have not done everything that's been asked of you, but as Mr. Garrett has stated, the neighbors were not aware that this was being presented tonight. And they have, as you are fully aware, have been heavily involved in that. And Mayor Tennant's already recommended, I think, to defer it. I would, and I know that our attorney would as well, feel more comfortable as this was pushed back a month to allow the residents there to have a voice in what's going on. Maybe not as much a voice as an understanding, because I'm gonna be honest with you, I'm sitting here and I'm still not sure that I totally understand what is trying to be achieved. Now, I'm not part of the community development and planning, don't get me wrong, and I don't have a vote in this matter, but I think that would be most advantageous at this point.
Any other comments? Mr. Barnfield? I had him first. You good?
And I just have a question for Adam, I guess. So you said this is a vote for what we recommend to the city commission.
Correct.
So this goes to the city commission no matter what we do?
They
Or,
would, the city commission would have to change it, because they're the ones that define the mixture, 1 and 2 story.
okay. So if we defer it, does that mean that they go ahead and hear it?
Now, it's
Next.
gotta get a recommendation here first.
Okay,
Either
so
way.
we've got to do something before they hear it. Okay, thanks.
And just to be clear on the request, because I know it says the applicant's request is to permit options for the units to be either a 1 or 2 story. So basically, are you wanting to keep the current 72 unit requirement that
Well,
you have?
No, sir, and that's a bit of a misparaphrase from the standpoint. Our intent, our desire, and the request that I would have is that we reduce completely or minimize from the current 40% one level to a number less than that, preferably 0, which provides, great architecture and the
Right,
maximum
and
amount
that's
of
my-
flexibility.
And that's my question, of your 47 one-story.
Yes, sir.
The original design elevation had no dormers.
Yes, sir, that's correct.
So basically, you're wanting to keep the same roof elevation,
Yes, sir.
but put a dormer in it, and that just, even though it's the same height, it's now a 2-story unit.
Yes, sir, that's correct.
Even though the height never increased, just got a dormer and possibly some dormers off the back.
Yes, sir, that's exactly
Okay.
correct.
All right.
Will these all be 0 grade entry throughout? Will these all be 0 grade entry throughout the first floor from the garage?
Oh, yes, sir, yeah.
Okay.
One, 4, certainly less than, approximately, code requires a minimal step there. But yes, you won't have 2, 3, 5 risers from the garage to the home.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, so I'm still confused with what Russell, the roof line will be identical.
Yes, sir. If anybody had a
If,
pointer, I could,
I think they're just trying to get.
The other ones go back and forth.
So here, for example, previously, that was just roof there, okay? And now what we've done is you still have roof there, but this built form right here is called dormer. And so that dormer allows the opportunity to have a window there on the front of these 3 homes. 1, 2, 3. These 4 homes were always designed as 2 stories. Can everybody hear me okay? Sorry. So the addition of this dormer opens up that, what was previous attic space. This portion right here is called the top plate. That elevation does not change. The peak of the ridge here from this plan back to this plan does not change. So we're just using the interior space of the trusses in order to gain more usable square footage. So the width of the home from left to right and then here again, that does not change. The height of the home from this point to the peak of the ridge and from the interior homes from this point to the peak of the ridge, none of that changes. We're just using an added truss system to accomplish more usable square footage.
okay, and
I mean, I understand it aesthetically, nothing's changing. What it basically was gonna be was a 12-12, 10-12 pitch, whatever, with a bunch of wasted attic space. They're adding a window in order to create more square footage. It's, if that makes it any clearer for everybody, nothing's changing other than adding a dormer. Aesthetically, I think it's gonna make it look better, but at the same time, I'm still gonna recommend a month to defer it for our residents to voice their opinions. That's what.
and I'd like to see the actual drawings of
Yes.
bedrooms and what that does to everything.
Unfortunately, just with flexibility. Here's your stair column, so this goes from the main level to the upper level. But we've also created this great space here, which can be used for multiple purposes. So this space can and would initially be used for storage, but we build that in such a manner that, again, thinking in mind if somebody is a little bit older and they're aging in place, this home will also meet many of the requirements for ADA homes as well. And so this becomes a potential opportunity for a future elevator that goes continuously from the main level of the home to the upstairs level of the home. So this space is where you have the dormer and the window on the front, and you have this additional square footage here. And then if somebody opted to have, the roof line would not change, whatsoever, but if somebody wanted to have additional conditioned finished space here, then you would have a dormer strictly off of the back, just like that home is shown over there. So we feel like from the standpoint of meeting the needs of the market, that we provide future clients, future residents of the neighborhood, a lot of opportunity and flexibility from a design standpoint, also improving the exterior architecture, as well as having a great home as well as
Got a question for, you.
Yes, sir.
Were the stairs going to the upstairs, is that in the original drawings as well? Or how'd you get access to the attic?
It was not, because that was feedback that we received, not from planning commission, but actually just from city council, that there was to be no accessibility from the main level of the home to any
Okay.
future attic space or anything like that.
Two things, I agree with Mayor Tennant, I'd feel more comfortable waiting. And the good news is, we're already a week behind, so you're only 3 weeks to the next meeting.
I'm adaptable, it's no problem.
So, I would also, I don't want to speak for what I would vote for or whatever, but I would think that this either a dormer or no dormer, I would think that would not look, to have one unit with a dormer and the next unit next to it without a dormer, I would think that would look odd.
Dormers are used all the time, Mr. True. in
But I'm
regards to-
saying that if you didn't if you had one and not the, and then, so if,
Well,
I would think they would all need to be with dormers, even if you don't use that finished
We
upstairs.
could accommodate, yeah, if, you know, you said, hey, you know, this one becomes permissible as a two-story home, again, ridge line being perfectly the same, overall height being perfectly the same. Many times, obviously, there is a functional use of the dormer, right? But then there's also an aesthetic use of the dormer as well, from the standpoint, many times, I should say, most times these days, you know, when you see dormers, typically they're called false dormers, right? So that you actually don't have usable access to that attic space. They're strictly designed to break up larger roof lines and roof planes and things of that nature.
Okay,
But we could accommodate that for sure.
all right.
I do have one. What is the base square footage of the units? What is ground level?
I believe that and I'm going from memory here, because I think that the original one-story home was 1267, or somewhere between 1,200 and 1,300 square feet, and this would add about 400 square feet to that. And so, you know, that's going to make that about 1,800 or so square feet, depending on the option.
With the bonus room option, could add another.
Even with the bonus room option, and again, forgive me, I'm going from memory, even with the bonus room option, it would still be below, either right below or right at 2,000 square feet.
Any further questions? Ms. Wheeler?
George, can you show us the second floor again with the, there we go.
So here, you come up the stairs
Mhm.
on the first level, coming up into onto the upper hallway here. And again, with smaller footprint homes as these are, we thought about just different opportunities of, a lot of times these days,
And that would be a third full bath upstairs with accessibility from the bedroom and from the hallway. Is that correct? Okay, thank you.
Any further questions? Yes, sir.
You may have addressed this, but how do you heat and cool those units? How do you heat and cool those units? And where are they located? Where are they located?
In this particular case, let me remember. Regardless if they were one level or two level, the HVAC system would be in the attic truss space, right? And so the unit itself, the air handler, as it's called, would be in the attic truss space here, and then the air conditioning condenser would be on the exterior as well.
And how does the serviceman get up to treat that unit?
Oh, well, in this case, there's be a door there, sir. So, in this particular case, if they did not finish this, then there would be a door. If they did finish this, then there'd be more, what we call mechanical closets. And then on the existing two-story homes, that air handler is in the attic space as well, easily accessible, with the full mount set of stairs. Again, all code compliant. Mr. McNeil, just like the question earlier about the 2-hour separation wall, everything, designed to be easily accessible for maintenance, clearly, obviously, meeting all the parameters of the code.
Any other questions? If not, we need to make a motion. It could be to deny the request to the city commissioner, it could be a recommendation to the city commissioner, or it could be deferral for 1 month or longer. So I'll entertain a motion at this time.
I've made a motion to defer already.
Mayor Tenen makes a motion to defer for at least 1 month?
Yes, sir.
For
Till the
1
next
month?
meeting.
To the October meeting,
October 6th.
October 6th.
Second. I'll second.
Mr. Barnesfield seconds it. Any further questions or comments before we vote? All those in favor of deferral, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We'll see you October the 6th.
Thank you all
Mr.
for the
Garrett,
time.
if you would, please let your friends and neighbors know and have any comments, ready for prior to the meeting, on the public forum aspect. I can't hear you, I'm sorry. I would also recommend maybe some printouts that we can give to the neighbors as well.
Yes, sir. I'll follow up with Adam and get that information over to him forthwith, and I'll bring some printouts as well. I don't foresee that being an issue.
Okay, thank you very much.
Our packets are all online too. Everything you all get is on our website.
Okay.
So. Yeah, so we'll make sure everything's on the one online, so anybody can pull it up, so.
Thank you all very much. Appreciate it.
Mr. Garrett, I'll make sure you I'll get it to you before then.
Okay. Well, we're ready for item number 5. The request review of the fire hydrant installation requirement at 214 Hasty Drive. If you would come to the podium and let us know your name again.
Hi, my name's Duncan Rowe. I live at 214 Hasty Drive. I want to thank you guys for the opportunity here tonight.
Okay, we'll let Adam take it from here.
All right, we've talked about this a couple of times over the last couple of months. Right now, the Planning Commission has extended the hydrant installation timeline. They spoke at the August public forum, and the planning commission wanted to rediscuss it again. So this is what the existing house is. This is Hasty Drive. The fire hydrant's down here at the corner of Tabor. The star up top is the future proposal. You can see this was originally roughly almost 25 acres. And they cut off a little over 4 acre tract here. That's where they built their house, but there's still this property here. As we talked about, options would be if the planning commission wants to review a revised timeline, or there's a request to possibly defer the hydrant with a future house installation, which I'll let them go through their packet they gave y'all. And I'd recommend either option on that. I could see it one. Number two, or we could deny it and maintain the current requirement, which we would go through our formal violation process. Or three, defer the request if there's any additional information as determined by the Planning Commission. I did let them know an option, regulatory option. By state of Tennessee, a subdivision is when you got more than 5 acres. So as you see, they're just shy of 5 acres on that lot. They have the ability, I know it might not work due to all kinds of reasons, but they have the ability to void the subdivision, put it back to 1 tract, cut off a 5 acre tract. Under state law, that's not a subdivision, doesn't follow our rules, doesn't do a subdivision plat. No hydrant be required, because it's in our subdivision regulations where this at. I feel like my option to recommend is number one up there, it still kind of has a hydrant eventually. It might not be next 6 months, it might be 5 years if they don't build the house in the future, but that is something they have the option to do that they're aware of, so kind of just throw that out. I know we hadn't really talked about that in the past, but it's kind of the tricky thing. If they had cut it over like a 6 acre lot instead of a 4 acre, then this never would have been an issue, so. But they do have a packet they want to go through. It kind of explains. They got a better drawing than I had in there too, so I'll let them explain that. So.
Okay, Mr. Rowe,
Yes.
you have anything to add?
I think Adam did a really good job covering everything. Basically, what I'm asking to do is to request the first option, which is to delay or to defer till till my son-in-law and my daughter and my son-in-law build their property, build their house. Okay. Oh, okay. I usually do what she says, so. Anyway, so that's the main request that I'm doing. I mean, the original tract, when it was subdivided, I think at that point it became a requirement that they have to put a fire hydrant on the package before it was subdivided. And the actual, when I went down to the fire chief a few different times, we talked about this the last time I was here, but they have 1,000 foot of hose, and from the fire hydrant that feeds off Tabor and Hasty, it's 840 feet to the very back of my property, and my neighbors, I think, was 830 feet. Yeah. So when I discussed with the fire chief, he said, there shouldn't be any problem with what cover, that existing fire hydrant should cover your property, in the event of a fire, no problem. So what we're requesting is that we just, if we could just do the option where we defer it to when they decide to build. Yeah, I've also got in this packet too, I have a signed proposal, a signed document saying that my daughter and my son-in-law will install a fire hydrant when they build this property.
Okay.
I did get some estimates, so I got estimates. Another thing, and this is a huge financial burden. We're both retired, and I got the original quote that I got was for $30,000. Well, I was asked if I got another quote. I couldn't get another quote in between the last meeting and this meeting, but I did call a guy that did some plumbing work for us that does that kind of stuff. He looked at the quote and said he didn't think he'd be any cheaper, and it's to the tune of about 30 grand to install this fire hydrant, if we were to go what I'm up here requesting, that we try not to go that route.
Did you speak to the fire chief specifically?
I did.
Did you?
Yeah, twice. I went back down there just the other day, just to make sure that he thought that was the
And you
same.
spoke to Chief Kenneth Reeves, correct?
Yes. Yeah, and he said, well, we have 1,000 feet. The people in Goodlettsville know we have 1,000 feet. And, he felt like we were still within the parameters of being in a safe zone for, feeding off the other hydrant, which is right down the street. And, I know that the kids, there's some new kids that moved into the property right next to us, and they're 830 feet, but of course they don't have to get a fire hydrant because they're not a new property. But they're in the same position that I am as far as how many feet of hose that they would be, that the fire department would have to put out a fire at their property. So
right now, if your house that you live in now was to need the fire department to put out a fire, you're covered. Is that correct?
I'm covered because they have 100.
The only thing that's not covered is if you build another house on that property.
That's
Then
right,
you're not
and
covered.
that's not my property, that's my daughter's and my son-in-law's property.
I'm not a fireman, so I'd have to ask, if this is good business, or is everybody safe here?
Well, you got to remember that also, all my other neighbors that are adjacent to me are in the same, they're all within over 800 feet from the current fire hydrant on Tabor and Hasty. So from that technical standpoint, we're all in the same thing. However, I'm required to do something about it from the city of Goodlettsville, so.
But I think, Mr. Chairman, the reason why he's required to do it is because your property was drawn up as a neighborhood. Is that correct, Adam?
I'm sorry, sir. what-
Subdivision.
The
They created the
subdivision.
property by subdivision less than 5 acres.
Right.
And our subdivision regulations, that's when it kicks in.
So necessarily, that's the requirements, I guess I'm speaking, Mr. Chairman, maybe you should, but that's the stipulations of the city, so it's not like, you're not being singled out.
No, I
You know,
totally understand it, yeah.
But let me just make one point. As far as on a fire pump or a fire engine responding to your house, okay? If Goodlettsville Fire Department happens to be out on a call on South Dixon, the next engine that you get may not have 1,000 foot of large diameter hose.
Well, according to the fire chief that I talked to, that's pretty standard for.
Well,
like
I
Hen-
tell you,
But maybe it's not.
I just so you know,
Right.
Engine company can be set up for their particular territory. So I'm not different what Chief Reeves said or
Right.
didn't say. But the next engine company that would respond to your house may not be set up the same way.
I understand.
So I just want you to be,
That,
so you
that makes
understand
sense.
that.
That would make it so definitely my neighbors that are adjacent to me, both left and right, would be in the same position.
Sure,
that I would-
absolutely,
Under
yeah.
that,
You just got to realize that you're taking on, hey, man,
right,
it's going to take a little bit of time to lay out 1,000 foot of hose
correct.
or 800 foot of hose. I just want you to make sure you understand that.
I appreciate it, buddy.
Yes,
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Mr. Chairman, when are your daughter and son-in-law going to build?
Well, he's here now. I think that he has a piece of property that he's selling on Gallatin Road in East Nashville. Okay, I could let him in.
Yeah, I think the plan is to build really as soon as we can. I don't know, I don't have an exact timeline on that. It could be, like Adam said, 6 months from now. It could be, I don't think it's going to be 5 years from now, but I think that it'll be, anytime between 6 months and probably 3 years. Hopefully, I'm shooting for more like 6 months, but I'm in the middle of civil engineering right now. But we've got our house plans and everything like that. We just got to do some of the front end stuff currently. So we're just kind of in a bit of a waiting phase, but that's the plan. So.
And then Adam, if he changed it back to a 5 acre tract of his existing home instead of 4, if he changed his property back to a 5-acre cutoff instead of a 4, this wouldn't be an issue, right? What would be your hesitation to go into 5 acres instead of 4?
This is the first time I've ever heard of that, number one, but I don't know what's required, but I'd be open to whatever.
They would have to void the subdivisions, it'd be back to one property, and then cut off a larger tract, 5 acres. But that'd be up to them, there could be, you know, that's up to them. If they want to go that route, then we don't get a hydrant period. That's the only bad thing from the city's perspective. At least this, even if we defer it for a longer time, there's a chance for a hydrant to be put in eventually, which will benefit the other people on the end of the street also. But that would be, I mean, that's a regulatory option for them.
So could we say that before that property could be built on, a plug would have to be
I
installed?
mean, that's what they've
before?
requested. I think the way they worded it, the CO, it'd be installed while they're building it, per their letter here. Yeah, before it's completed.
Of course, yes.
Yeah, that's per them signed in their
I
agreement.
think that it would be difficult for somebody, given now we know how much the fire hydrant really truly costs, I think it would be very difficult for somebody to build a house without building that into the cost of the house and to put it in beforehand. So that's why we worded it that way, so that they can factor that into their construction loan. So we worded it so that it would be, the fire hydrant would be installed upon completion, and the occupancy permit would be contingent upon that.
And, you know, I've talked to Fire Chief, and of course, he supports more hydrants. I mean, he'll never say anything, but he always supports us, our requirements for additional hydrants requirements, so.
Did you ask Chief Reeves for a letter in regards to this matter?
I'm sorry?
Did
I
you?
did.
Okay.
He didn't really want to get involved, and, you know.
I think his response probably was he was not going to go against what our municipal code
That
called
was,
for.
well, he didn't say it, the code, he just says that, you know, he supports the city of Goodlettsville.
Okay.
I mean, he just you know, I don't blame him.
You probably never go get anything from a fire chief not supporting another. That's just their
Exactly,
DNA,
yeah.
I think, so, yeah.
But he's a cool guy, and he was very kind about all that stuff, but he basically let me know that we were probably okay.
I mean, is there is the option for them, which I'm in, I think we need a hydrant eventually, whether we do it now or when they agree to do it. I mean, maybe their other option, it would be to see what it costs to re-engineer and go to over a 5-acre tract.
Re-engineer what?
Or just to have it resurveyed and do over 5 acres, which doesn't require a hydrant, but, you know, that's another way to go about it. But if I was going to live there, or my daughter or son-in-law was going to live there, I would recommend a hydrant in the future.
On their property?
Yeah.
I mean, just generally when
Yes,
they build.
I
is
would
what
highly
you're saying.
recommend that. I'm
Yeah.
just saying that might be another option, is to go back to a full 5 acres to
Right.
get around the rule. But I'd still, even if I did that, I'd want to put a hydrant in for the safety.
I
aspect.
agree with that. I think,
If we were to revise the installation timeline or defer it for a year or whatever, as we've done several times, would that not be the same thing, knowing that if they build the house or when they build the house, a fire hydrant had to be installed?
Yes.
And that would eliminate the need for surveys and different plats and that sort of thing.
I mean, they have the option to do that regardless, you know, if they want to.
option to do what, Adam?
To do the regulatory change, I mean, they
Yeah,
would
they-
never, we wouldn't have to know anything about it really, so. Yeah, you either got the option to extend it, because like I said, they can't do it currently. You extend it or defer it till the future house, lot 1. I think the issue is the timeline. We just don't know on the other house. Like I said, it could be 3 years. You know, some things are out of their control, I guess, but that's the deal. It's just, the timeline is what it is. Just get pushing the timeline back,
But
if
like
we keep it.
But like you said, now it's no different than what it was. It's just all about how it was drawn up as a subdivision, so,
Yeah.
you know.
And it'd really be no difference if they did re-subdivide everything, it still had the same distance from,
Exactly.
My suggestion to the board would be to extend the timeline 6 months. You've been advised of a potential permit to build on the track by the daughter and son-in-law in 6 months. Again, as Mr. True said, it doesn't change any of the existing, and you still have the ability to enforce the ordinance and the prior requirement of the hydrant regardless of whether or not we build or not build on the second lot.
would it be a difference between 6 months and 1 year? Because it doesn't seem like they'll be ready for a fire hydrant for at least another year.
Well, that could be the case, and you could always extend another 6 months at that
Okay.
point in time. You don't lose any ground on the current requirement under the current subdivision to have the hydrant.
Gotcha.
So if they didn't do it within 6 months, could they just deal with Adam at the planning office, or would they have to come back before us to ask for an extension? They'd have to come back, okay.
Yeah, if this board determines.
Okay, well, I'm going to take our city attorney's advice, and I'm going to make a motion to defer it 6 months. Extend it, extend it 6 months, not defer it.
Yeah, I second.
We have a motion by Mayor Tenen. We have a second by Mr. Gilmore. Any further comments or questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? I'll see you in 6 months, I guess.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate your
Good night.
time.
Okay, we're ready for item number 6.
Change the.
The Community Development Staff requests recommendation to the city, for the Goodlettsville City Commission to amend the zoning ordinance sections as written.
Not unless they-
And this is, the proposed amendments are based on the current one-year high-density zoning and development plan approval moratorium. Adam?
Yes, I'll go through these. We've talked about all these. There should be no surprise with these. These are based on the moratorium. We did, of course, the high-density moratorium back in December. There was a goal to do our comp plan, which we're going through that right now, and then also looking at our ordinance. And a lot of these are based on discussions I've seen at this planning commission, what we expect for developments going forward about unit size, garage orientation, all that stuff. These would only apply, say the city commission adopt these later this year, December. So any projects, they'd only apply to projects after that. So, I know we got some coming next month. They would not be under these rules because until the city commission adopts it, they wouldn't be official. Also, there's some that take uses away, as we'll see here, and those existing uses, if it all gets approved, will become legal non-conforming uses. So still have a right to do it, but it does make it a non-conforming issue for that property. So I'll go through these. Like I said, there's no surprise to any of these. 6A, and you all can choose if you want to do them all at once or vote for once, or if you feel like some of them don't need to be in here, we could break it down. So the first one is in the R15 medium density residential zoning district and the low density residential planning development district. We'll be removing two-family duplexes out of permitted uses. These are districts where it is allowed now, but it would be removed from that. 6B is where we talked about minimum square footage requirements. We currently have that in our base residential districts, R7 to R40, but our planning developments, we do not have a minimum square footage requirement. So that's what this is. It's adding 2,000 square feet, not including a garage, for a single family detached, 1,500 square feet per unit for a two-family detached, or a semi-detached, kind of like Willis Branch area, if y'all know those those are considered semi-detached. And then 1,200 square feet for attached units. And of course, this does not include a garage, and that's coming along. So there would be minimum square footage proposed. There were defining expectations. We come in, that doesn't mean that the units can be bigger than that. That would just be a minimum, because currently we don't have one for these dimensions, or these districts.
Could you explain to me the difference between semi-detached
Yeah.
and attached?
Attached, the tricky part there is, like I said, Willis Branch is a good example of that. Those are 2 units attached, but you could have one where you got 2 units and you turn around and got possibly 2 more attached. A lot of it's about the ownership. Like a typical duplex, one owner owns both, but in a semi-detached, you can have different owners. It can be property lines. So it's basically an attached, but it's not like a long.
What's called a zero lot line?
You can do 0 lot line in that
Is
format.
that the same thing as the semi-attached?
It's just really about the number of units.
I got you. Okay.
So we would require like 1,500 square feet per. Like I said, this would not be if the developer requests more, or, and as the planning commission could request more with a project proposal, but we would be defining a minimum. Next on here, 6C is minimum garage requirements. This is going to require a 2-car garage. Back up in our base residential district, some R40, R7, we already have a minimum garage requirement, but in the planned unit development, we don't. So that's what this is doing. It's adding the same requirements. Basically, 1 and 2 family, the 2-family detached requires a 2-car detached garage or attached garage to both of those. In your attached, your townhomes would be a minimum of 1 car attached. Like I said, the planning commission could alter a master plan. I've seen townhouse communities sometimes come in where there's like a group of garages instead of attached to a unit. They actually have like where people can lease those out to have additional garage separate. So that's something we could look at in a master plan. I think the key is to have the bigger square footages and to have the garages available. 6D, this talks about the garage orientation. Like we talked about, this impacts developments a lot, how the garages are, especially residential. Right now, we have a provision that allows up to a third of the units, 33%, to be front-loaded. We talked about reducing that down to 20%, so that's the change here. We talk about front-loaded garages being located in areas with limited visibility from adjacent properties and main highways. So that'd be part of the master plan process. The goal would be if they choose to do a section of front-loaded garages, they'd have to be limited in areas where it's not like out on the main highway or adjacent to other property. Also talked about single garage doors exceeding 9 feet are prohibited on the limited frontage. So what they'd have to do, if you see in different communities, multiple garage, like if they want to do a 2-car or 3-car, it has to be separate doors. It's an aesthetic issue. You're seeing that more now. The city's going to the requirement. Continuation of that, we do have a provision for a front recess garage. Right now, if the garage is more than 10 feet behind the front of the house, it's not regulated as a front-loaded garage. It's a different option. And we talked about increasing that to 20. So to push that garage even further in the house, portion of the house even further out front. And I just added the section on there about the 9-foot garage door also.
Can I ask a question
Yeah.
on 6C? You'd mentioned some of these units, multifamily units, having an area, a garage space that you could lease. Is there any mention of a parking area? I know the units that we just discussed at the first of the meeting over on Dixon Road, they have a couple of areas for parking. Is that a requirement?
That's still a requirement, yes.
Okay, so having additional parking areas is a requirement?
Yes. We do now, of course, that plan was before. We require now anything 3 bedrooms and more, we require 4 off-street parking, and then we require so many visitors parking spaces.
Okay,
So that would be in addition. This would just be the attached garage
gotcha,
on the units.
gotcha.
Let me get back to where we were. Okay, this is in the planned unit developments. We talked about right now, we do 50% minimum brick or stone. This is all on your houses, like townhouses, this kind of projects. We're looking at increasing that. We talked about going up to 75%. And then the remaining 25% could be EFS, brick, glass, things of that nature. So we talked about that. Going forward, I think I got that in 2 sections. Yeah, one section, our zoning ordinance has a section that applies to all developments. then we have one just for the planning developments for residential. So I've basically put that across the board, 75% brick or stone minimum requirement. We have a provision right now, it allows like the aluminum front, glass fronts, you know, that design where they can do 75% of that and 25% brick, but with our new requirement, we need to be fair and consistent, we'd up that to 50% brick or stone. So they can still do the window and decorative aluminum look, but it would be reduced to require more brick or stone.
And is that on all sides of the building?
Yes.
Can they put it on, all on the back? I mean, the 25%, is it gonna fall around all four sides, or could they put all that 25% siding on the back?
It's per wall, so they could put 25% on all four walls. You know, they could come in with the plan to the planning commission, to do 100% on the front and offset maybe the back at 50%, but that'd be up to you guys. Right now, it'd be on all walls, so. It's just the same, like I said, this is in multiple districts, sections of our zoning ordinance, so I just want it consistently all across. These next couple are about the minimum mixed-use requirement. In our commercial core overlay right now, currently we require the ground floor to be commercial, but what we talked about doing is making it 25% minimum of the building, be the commercial area. So I included that in the commercial core overlay, the North Main Street district overlay, because we only got one property currently. The planned unit development, if there's ever mixed use approved, it has to be 25%. And even our regional center planned unit development section, that's where this originally was one of the sections that came in. Now, this wouldn't apply to the mall redevelopment project. Like I said, it's already in place, but basically, it requires ground floor commercial in certain areas. We didn't do the whole area, but in certain areas, we wanted to see ground floor commercial, and then a notation that a minimum of 25% of the whole building. So if it's, you know, less than 4 stories, they're going to have to figure something out how they do it. So that, like I said, that just goes across the board. Any mixed use, like we talked about, 25% of it, at least commercial. That'd be something, of course, we would rezone. City would see master plans on these type zoning districts, except for the overlay. That's just all going through the same. That's it on the zoning ordinance amendments. We'll have some on design centers next, but they're consistent with what we've done. So this will be the zoning. You know, like we've talked about, these will add costs to the project. When you talk about material, square footage, garage orientation is huge, but I know that's something the planning commission is expressed. That's what the city commission did the moratorium. It's a higher level of design expected for residential neighborhoods going forward, so.
Mr. Chairman, may I ask him a question? Adam, may I ask a question?
Let me think about it a second. Okay, go ahead.
Sorry. Adam, this 25% on these mixed-use facility, is that sort of a common, there's a lot of mixed-use building going on right now all over the state, all over the country. Is 25% sort of a standard that's out there?
I've not seen the 25%. A lot of them require a ground floor, you know, so it's 6 stories, you know. I know it's something we talked about wanting to define that, but.
Yeah, the only thing that, when you said if they were to do a 3-story building and they had to do 25%, they'd have to figure it out. I don't know. Obviously, they got to move into the second level with some.
Or figure the base
or figure
bigger.
Base bigger or so, yeah, I don't know. So I don't know the percentage there that versus ground floor, but then again.
I'm not going to go so far away from home. I think in Nashville, I may have dreamed this, I don't think I have. There are higher than 4 stories.
Oh, yeah.
With just the main floor, first floor as commercial.
Yeah, I think, you know, you go down Dickerson Road South, 8th Avenue South, I mean, those are, some of them are probably 6 to 8 stories, yeah, and the ground floor commercial.
Well, I was just thinking over in, on Charlotte Avenue, for example, all the way out to the west, and the new Belmead Plaza that's being built, as I recall, they're maybe 8 floors, and I think it's the ground floor that's the commercial, so that's why I was, you know.
And some of them, you know, some of those mixed use, the ground floor isn't all commercial. You know, some of the buildings may be 150 feet deep, and the front half of them are, in the back becomes service area for the. It will, I mean, it will greatly limit the ability to do them, you know. But I know we talked about this in detail months, and this is the last kind of idea to ensure that if we approve them, it's a commercial-oriented project, so. But it makes it mixed use because it's a commercial area with residential. It usually ain't the other way around, so, yeah.
And I would like a little bit of clarification, because I guess it's something I've always been concerned with. Now, on these proposals, especially on some of the houses, you know, all 4 sides will look similar. Is that correct? You wouldn't be able to have just, you know, brick on the front, brick on the sides, and in the back just have it, you know, just fiberboard or whatever.
Let me pull it back. All facades and exterior walls shall include a minimum 75% brick or stone.
Okay, all right, so I didn't.
Yeah, with
I
this
didn't
new
catch that.
requirement.
So even the backside has to have 75% brick or stone?
Unless you all approve something different.
Okay.
And that's the cases we've seen projects, the planning commission has in the past allowed, hey, if we're gonna make the, like that one we just saw, Pine Ridge, you know, the front has a lot more brick on it, and the back just had we approved a smaller, to the windowsill.
But technically, that'd be a variance, wouldn't it, because based on.
Going forward, yes, that's correct, yeah.
All right. So this needs to, we need to put this to, we need to put this to a vote for approval to the city commission,
Yes,
correct?
yes. And if you all, I mean, the goal was just to have this done by the end of the year, and the state changed the zoning timeline for the public notice of the city commission to 21 days. So it really throws us into almost a 4-month process. We're trying to get this going before the moratorium comes in, but if y'all don't feel comfortable, it's something we could defer, come back next month, so.
Mr. Chairman, I could make a motion when we approve to the city commission.
All right, we have a motion to recommend approval to the city commission on these changes. Do I have a second? Second by Mr. McNeil. Any further questions or comments?
Sorry, Mr. Chairman, are you talking about 6 all the way through to, what's the last one? You talking about all of them?
Yeah, all the
Yes.
ones and 6 lumped together, yeah.
This is our approval to the city commission for their recommendation to the city commission for approval.
Right. As you all can probably tell, I have concern about that 25%. If we were to get some 8-story buildings, I don't know that we'll ever get 8-story buildings, but if we were, they're being built all over Nashville. To require 25% of that to be commercial sounds like a lot to me. The ground floor, certainly I understand, absolutely. But to require floors 2 through 8 to be commercial,
I think we were just talking about the ground floor being commercial, is that right? Did I
not
read
if you're
that?
talking about
But
25%.
if you're a 4-story building, if you do full ground level, that'd be the first level. But if you got 6 stories, the ground floor is not gonna make up 25%.
Yeah, I
Unless,
agree.
like I said, the ground floor is bigger.
And I agree with Ms. Wheeler on that, you know, I didn't catch that before.
But I think that would, Mr. Chairman, I think that would be an isolated case that
Yeah.
could be brought to the board if we ever get to those size buildings, and with the limited space we have to bring in commercial on top of that. I don't think we're talking about a lot of land that's going to pop up under that scenario.
I mean, honestly, I don't see us getting a lot of mixed use with this, really in place, but that's something we talked about. Like I said, we talked about the comprehensive plan, some of these decisions we've done, it's gonna limit some stuff, but I mean, that's what the expectations are being increased, and if they can meet it, fine, but if not, then, because the goal was to maintain our commercial corridors, to make sure those are true commercial. We feel, the board feels that's the way we make sure is that we require that much commercial, but it will be a limitation, so.
I think, Mr. Chairman, I think in a lot of discussion too that's went on over the past few months is trying to make sure that when we have a multi-use project come in, they don't come in and paint us a great picture and then come back later and cut out the commercial part of it. So I think maybe by trying to go for a larger percentage of commercial, it kind of maybe eliminates some of that going back and forth, and just the people that want to invest, they're coming in to invest. That's sort of I see your concern, but I think that's sort of what they're going with.
Okay.
And I think, I mean, even if we go with the 25%, our board can still come back if they make a request to reduce it, depending on the project. Is that correct?
Yes, we put that, all this, even the materials, that we have the ability, because all these are going to be like a master plan type project, we have the ability to alter that. Yeah, you see, especially in the planning development, minimum square footage of commercial unit may be altered per the project process based on the design and location.
So I think, Ms. Wheeler, the 25% would just give us some grounds to hold to control it, I think, but there's still option to reduce it. I agree with what you're saying for aesthetics, and I don't disagree with you. I just think it gives us a better hand on it, but they can come back for the, and I would like, I want your opinion as well, but I think that just gives us a handle on it somewhat. But I'm with you. Some of them, some can be too much.
Okay, we have a motion and we have a second.
Did you want to say something, Mr.
Are there any further questions or comments? We have a motion and a second for a recommendation for approval of the city commission on the above items. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? All right. We'll hand this over to the city commission then. All right, number 7. Request recommendation of the Goodlettsville City Commission to amend the design guidelines, colors and materials to increase the masonry brick or stone requirements from 50% to 75%. Adam?
Yeah, it's exactly the same what we did in the zoning ordinance. I did change it from 50 to 75%, and then the glass panels from 75% down to 50% allowed on those. Industrial buildings are different. I just clarified that. They're allowed to do 33% on the front street-facing side, brick or stone. The rest of it can be metal buildings. So they're kind of in a different ballgame because that's industrial zone and buildings only. And like a church or school in a residential neighborhood, there's a limited number on that also. But yeah, this is exactly the same as the zoning ordinance, just all the way across the board. Unfortunately, we had them in about 3 different locations, so we had to just be consistent.
Here again, we need to vote for recommendation of the city commission.
Only industrial and residential, like a church and residential.
Any questions or comments for Adam? Do I have a motion on this matter to either recommend or deny our recommendation to the city commission?
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to recommend approval to the city commission.
We have a motion to approve, Mr. Barnesfield. Do I have a second? Second by Mr. McNeil. Any further discussion on this? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, and Adam, you got this next item?
All right, the next item is our, I think that was the last voting item, discussion items. Comprehensive plan, Sean Foster did a great, I don't know if y'all got to do it yet, a survey, like a follow-up survey. I don't think I've seen a lot of cities do that. You know, we did the original one. So this is kind of like giving people a chance to review the draft. So he put that together, it looked fantastic. Our goal was to have comments by the end of the month, and at the October 6th Planning Commission, just do a quick summary to you guys of some of the results of the comments. Our goal was to have a study session with the city commission. I could get with him on a date. We're thinking maybe October 27th, kind of the same timeline as the last Monday of the month, because there's still a couple things we want to ham down. I think there's still some questions that came up at the last meeting. But that is going forward, but do take a chance to do the survey. Anybody out there watching, please take that also. You can see the draft plan. We're really proud of it. There was a request, too, a couple months ago to do a short little summary about zoning overlays. You know, in Goodlettsville, we have several. The interchange overlay, the commercial core overlay. So this won't take but a couple minutes, but did a little research today, and I saw a great quote from a planner, a recent, basically said zoning districts, overlay districts are zoning add-ons, extra rules layered on top of base zoning for specific areas. This is a great way to put it. They don't replace zoning, they just tweak it, zoning with a twist. It's a good way to look at it. You know, in Goodlettsville, like I said, we do have multiple. The way a zoning overlay works, you have to have a base regulation in place. You know, that kind of forms your current, like in our commercial core overlay, we got, I think, 3 different commercial zoning districts that form the base, the overlay. You know, zoning ordinance regulations, you know, most times are 300 to 400 pages. They're very complicated, and they're interconnected. So when you make one change to something, it could possibly affect others. So that's why a lot of overlays are put in, is ability to basically add a regulation or remove a regulation and not really disrupt the whole ordinance. So that's kind of why they're done for. I've seen overlays more on design-oriented issues, not really use-oriented issues. So there's many ways you can do them. Overlays can be used to remove a section of regulations, like we have our interchange overlay. There's about 3 or 4 different commercial base zones, and what that overlay does, it limits the uses. We've dealt with this several times. So that's an example of an overlay that actually reduces uses. Then it can also be to add things, like our commercial core overlay. It basically adds upper level 2 to the 5th story residential in those commercial districts. It's got some design issues on it. To me, zoning overlays can create a lot of confusion. If y'all ever dealt with Metro's process, if you ever try to figure out anything with their different levels, all the overlays, it can be very confusing. Even, you know, I've done this for a long time. It's still trying to figure out, even with our overlays, you've got extra regulations in place. That's one of the reasons why, when our comprehensive plan, one of the things we talk about doing is getting rid of the overlays and creating an interchange commercial zone and a commercial core overlay zone, and get rid of the overlays, because we've had a lot of confusion with the interchange overlay. People are like, well, it's zone CSL, so I can do a bank. All right, well, the overlay says you can't. So it's confusing to people when they see the property zone commercial services limited that allows it. So we're wanting to get rid of those and just base zone. And that's why the comprehensive plan is a good time. Like I talked about, everything's connected, so the goal is to create new districts. It'll be a lot of work, but it's to create a new district, get rid of those overlays. Like I said, overlays can be used for specific building and site design requirements instead, but that's a summary of them. I mean, I found some nationwide. On the right is different examples. One's like an airport impact overlay, so you can use them for anything. Other one's a fairgrounds on the right. These are all out of state, but just see where cities have done these for different uses and that kind of the same format. But there's good to them. I mean, I think you see them all over the country. Nashville's the king of them in Middle Tennessee, but it does create a lot of confusion and different layers of regulations. So I always like to try stuff anybody can just pick up and read through it and grasp it pretty quick. You know, people, property owners, anybody. You don't have to have 20 years experience in it to figure it out, kind of deal. But so that's just kind of my summary of overlays. I hope that helps. So. That's all I got.
Okay. Any further comments from anybody? What's on the agenda for next month?
We'll have the rezoning on Long Haul Pike. Phillips Builders have picked that up. You know, the 44 acres, we talked about annexing before. It's 69 homes, a revised master plan, so it's a totally different layout. We'll have the Dry Creek, if you remember that, those 16 units down on Dry Creek Road there, that project where they're wanting to reshape it, add that property behind it. We'll have that, I think a bond issue in the comprehensive plan summary, then we'll have Pine Ridge back on there. So.
Can I make a suggestion that on that Long Haul Pike zoning, that we make that the last item on the agenda?
Okay, I hadn't published it. Agenda, I was waiting to see what happened tonight. I'll put that down, but Sharon's already spent 150 letters plus, so we've sent out notices to all of them, so,
So we can expect a long meeting in October.
yes.
Okay.
Mr. Drew, are you providing dinner for us?
I think I'm on vacation that week. I'm not sure.